You know that feeling when you're holding a secret so heavy it makes your chest hurt every time you breathe? That was me for 3 months straight. 3 months of watching my sister laugh with a man who was destroying her life behind her back. 3 months of knowing something that would break her heart, but staying quiet because I was too scared to lose her. Well, I lost her anyway. And the worst part? She hates me for trying to save her. I'm sitting here in my tiny studio apartment right now. The one I had to rent last minute after my own sister threw me out of her house at 11 p.m. on a Tuesday night. My clothes are still in garbage bags by the door. I haven't even unpacked yet because part of me keeps thinking she'll call and tell me to come back home, but it's been 2 weeks and my phone hasn't rung once. Let me start from the beginning because you need to understand that Sarah and I weren't just sisters. We were everything to each other. After our parents died in that car accident when I was 19 and she was 24, we only had each other left in this world. She dropped out of her master's program to take care of me. She worked 3 jobs so I could finish college without taking out loans. When I got my first real job as a teacher, I moved in with her to help with bills, and we promised each other we'd always be there for one another. That promise lasted 8 years. 8 years until Michael came along. Sarah met Michael at a coffee shop, and honestly, at first, I was happy for her. She'd been single for so long, always putting everyone else first. She deserved someone who would treat her like the amazing person she was. Michael seemed perfect. He brought her flowers every Friday. He remembered how she liked her coffee, oat milk latte with just a tiny bit of vanilla. He even got along with me, always asking about my students, bringing me little gifts when he came over. I thought my sister had finally found her person. They got married after a year of dating. It was a small wedding in our backyard, just close friends and some distant cousins. Sarah wore our mother's wedding dress, altered to fit her perfectly. She looked so beautiful that day, so completely happy. When she asked me to be her maid of honor, she held my hands and said, "You're not losing a sister. You're gaining a brother." I believed her. I really did. The first few months after the wedding were normal. Michael moved into Sarah's house, our house, and we figured out how to live as 3 adults under one roof. It worked surprisingly well. Michael cooked dinner most nights since he got home from his accounting job before Sarah finished at the hospital where she worked as a nurse. We'd eat together, watch movies, play board games on weekends. It felt like a real family, something I hadn't had since our parents died. But then little things started to change. Michael began working late more often. He'd come home at 10, 11, sometimes past midnight. Sarah never questioned it because tax season was coming up, and accountants always work crazy hours during that time. At least, that's what he told us. He started taking phone calls in the garage, saying it was work stuff he didn't want to bore us with. He put a password on his phone, which seemed weird to me, but Sarah just laughed and said he was probably planning some surprise for her birthday. The first time I got suspicious was when I came home early from school because I wasn't feeling well. It was a Wednesday in February, around 2 in the afternoon. Michael's car was in the driveway, which was strange because he should have been at work. I figured maybe he was sick too, so I went inside quietly, not wanting to wake him if he was resting. But he wasn't resting. He was in the living room with his laptop, and on the screen was something I'll never forget: dating profiles. He was scrolling through dating profiles on some app I didn't recognize. When he heard me come in, he slammed the laptop shut so fast he almost broke it. His face went completely white, then red. Then he started talking really fast about how he was home for lunch, and these pop-up ads kept showing up on his computer, and he was just trying to close them. I wanted to believe him. I really did, because believing him meant not having to make a choice between keeping a secret and breaking my sister's heart. So I nodded and went to my room and tried to pretend I hadn't seen what I saw. But once you notice something's wrong, you can't stop noticing it. After that day, I started paying more attention. Michael would say he was at work, but Sarah would mention later that she'd called his office and they said he'd left early. He'd say he was going to the gym, but he'd come back without having changed clothes and his gym bag would still be perfectly packed. Once, Sarah found a receipt in his pocket for a restaurant across town, a fancy place she'd been wanting to try. When she asked about it, excited that maybe he was planning to take her there, he said it was a business lunch and changed the subject. The worst part was watching Sarah slowly start to doubt herself. She'd ask me things like, "Do you think I'm being paranoid?" Or, "Am I crazy for wondering why he needs to work so many weekends suddenly?" And I'd have to look my sister in the eye and pretend I didn't know exactly what was happening. It was killing me. Every night I'd go to bed promising myself that tomorrow I'd tell her the truth, and every morning I'd lose my nerve. Then came the night that changed everything. It was a Thursday in May. Sarah was working a night shift at the hospital, and Michael thought I was staying over at my friend Lisa's place. But Lisa had canceled last minute because her kid got sick. I came home around 9 p.m., and there was a car I didn't recognize in our driveway. A red Honda Civic with one of those ridiculous eyelash things on the headlights. I sat in my car for probably 10 minutes, just staring at that Honda, trying to convince myself there was an innocent explanation. Maybe it was a coworker dropping off some important documents. Maybe it was someone whose car broke down and needed to use our phone. Maybe. But deep down, I knew exactly what I was going to find when I went inside. I used my key and opened the door as quietly as possible. The living room was dark, but I could hear voices coming from upstairs, laughing. A woman's laugh that definitely wasn't my sister's. Then I heard Michael's voice, low and flirty, the same tone he used to use with Sarah when they first started dating. I should have left right then. I should have gotten back in my car and driven away and figured out what to do later. But something in me snapped. 3 months of carrying this secret. 3 months of watching my sister's confusion and self-doubt. 3 months of being complicit in her betrayal. I couldn't do it anymore. I walked up those stairs like I was walking to my own execution. Each step felt heavier than the last. The master bedroom door was open just a crack, and through it, I could see enough. More than enough. Michael was in there with some woman I'd never seen before. They were both half-dressed, and she was sitting on my sister's bed, on the bed where my sister slept every night. They were so caught up in each other they didn't even hear me push the door open. "Michael," that's all I said. Just his name, but the way they both jumped apart. You would have thought I'd screamed it. The woman started grabbing her clothes, not even looking at me, just mumbling something about how she didn't know he was married, which was a lie because I could see his wedding ring right there on the nightstand. Michael, though, he tried to play it cool. Can you believe that? He actually tried to act like this wasn't what it obviously was. "This isn't what it looks like," he said, the oldest, most pathetic line in the history of cheating husbands. "We were just talking about work stuff and—" "Stop!" I cut him off. "Just stop. Get her out of this house now." The woman left without another word, practically running down the stairs in her half-buttoned shirt and bare feet, carrying her shoes. I heard her car start and peel out of the driveway. Then it was just Michael and me, standing in the bedroom he shared with my sister, the air between us thick with his betrayal. "You can't tell Sarah," he said. Not "I'm sorry" or "I made a mistake" or even "Please let me explain." Just, "You can't tell Sarah? Are you insane?" I asked him. "Of course I'm telling her. I should have told her months ago when I saw you on those dating sites." His face changed then. The fake innocence disappeared, and something harder took its place. "You've known for months, and you didn't say anything? Well, that makes you just as guilty as me, doesn't it?" "That's not—" I started, but he kept talking. "Sarah's not going to see it that way. You think she's going to thank you for keeping this from her? You think she's going to be grateful that her own sister knew her husband was cheating and said nothing? She's going to hate both of us. Is that what you want?" The thing is, he was probably right, but I didn't care anymore. I was tired of carrying his secret, tired of being part of this lie. "She deserves to know the truth," I said, "and if she hates me for it, at least I'll know I finally did the right thing." Michael laughed, but it wasn't a happy sound. The right thing? The right thing would have been minding your own business. Sarah and I are happy. We have a good life. Why do you want to destroy that? You destroyed it, I shouted. You destroyed it the moment you decided to cheat on her. And you know what? I don't think this is the first time. I think you've been doing this for months. Maybe longer. He didn't deny it. He just stood there, straightening his shirt, trying to regain some dignity that was long gone. I love your sister, he said quietly. I know you don't believe that, but I do. This other stuff, it doesn't mean anything. It's just, I don't know, something I need to get out of my system. Get out of your system? I couldn't believe what I was hearing. She's not some phase you're going through. She's my sister. She gave up everything for the people she loves. She deserves someone who loves her the way she loves them, completely, without whatever this is. And you think you're doing her a favor by telling her? You think she's going to be happier knowing the truth? Sometimes ignorance really is bliss. That's not your choice to make. Or mine. It's hers. We stood there staring at each other for what felt like hours, but was probably only a few seconds. Then Michael grabbed his phone and wallet from the nightstand. I'm going out, he said. I need to think. If you're smart, you'll think too. Think about what this is going to do to Sarah. Think about whether you really want to be the person who ruins her life. He left, and I heard his car drive away. I stood in their bedroom for a long time after that, looking around at all the pieces of their life together. Their wedding photo on the dresser, Sarah's scrubs thrown over the chair where she always left them, Michael's cologne on the bathroom counter. Normal, everyday things that would never be normal again after tonight. I went to my room and sat on my bed, trying to figure out what to do. Part of me wanted to pack everything up and leave before Sarah got home, just disappear and avoid the whole confrontation. But I knew I couldn't do that. I'd been a coward for 3 months. I couldn't be one anymore. Sarah came home around 7 the next morning. I heard her car in the driveway, heard her keys in the door, heard her calling out, "Hello? Anyone home?" in that tired voice she always had after a night shift. I was sitting at the kitchen table, still in the same clothes from the night before, with 2 cups of coffee in front of me. One for me, one for her. "Oh, hey," she said, surprised to see me. "I thought you were at Lisa's. Is everything okay? You look terrible. Sit down," I told her. "We need to talk." She laughed, but I could see the worry creeping into her eyes. "That's never good. What's wrong? Did something happen to Michael? His car's not here." "Sarah," I started, then stopped. How do you tell someone that their whole life is about to fall apart? How do you break the heart of the person you love most in the world? "You're scaring me," she said, sitting down across from me. "What's going on?" So I told her everything. The dating profiles I'd seen months ago, the lies about working late, and finally, what I'd walked in on the night before. I watched her face change as I talked, going from confusion to disbelief to something that broke my heart, a kind of resigned recognition, like part of her had known all along. When I finished, she didn't say anything for a long time. She just sat there, staring at her coffee cup like it might have answers. Finally, she looked up at me, and the expression on her face was one I'd never seen before. It wasn't sadness or anger or even surprise. It was betrayal, and it wasn't directed at Michael. "You knew," she said quietly. "You knew for months, and you didn't tell me." "Sarah, No." She stood up so fast her chair fell backward. Don't try to explain. You lived in my house, ate at my table, smiled at me every morning, and the whole time you knew my husband was cheating on me? I didn't know how to tell you. I was scared. Scared of what? Of being honest with me? I'm your sister. I gave up everything for you, and this is how you repay me, by letting me live a lie. That's not fair, I said, standing up too. I was trying to protect you. Protect me? She laughed, but it sounded more like a sob. You weren't protecting me. You were protecting yourself. You didn't want to be the one to deliver bad news. You didn't want to deal with the mess, so you just let me keep living in this fantasy while you knew the truth. I saw him with her last night, I said desperately. I confronted him. I told him he had to tell you or I would. Oh, how noble of you, Sarah said, her voice dripping with sarcasm. After months of silence, you finally grew a backbone. Should I thank you for that? Sarah, please. I know you're upset. Upset? She was full on yelling now. Upset doesn't even begin to cover it. My husband cheated on me. That's horrible. But my own sister, knew about it and said nothing? That's unforgivable. How can you say that? He's the one who betrayed you. He did, she agreed, but I expected more from you. You were supposed to be the one person I could always count on, the one person who would never lie to me. I never lied. Silence is a lie when you know the truth. Every day you didn't tell me was a lie. Every time I asked if you thought something was wrong and you said no, that was a lie. Every smile, every normal conversation we had while you knew this secret. All lies. Michael came home then. Of all the timing in the world, he walked through the door right in the middle of our argument. He took one look at Sarah's face and knew immediately that I'd told her. Sarah, he started, but she held up her hand. Not now, she said. I can't deal with you right now. I'm dealing with her, Michael said, and I could see him trying to figure out the angles. Trying to see how he could use this. She's the one who knew for months and didn't tell you. At least I was going to... Going to what? Sarah whipped around to face him. Tell me eventually? When? After you'd had your fun. After you'd humiliated me with how many women. It was a mistake, he said. A stupid mistake. But we can work through this. Couples therapy. Whatever you need. Sarah laughed. That same broken laugh from before. Couples therapy. You think couples therapy is going to fix this? You were with another woman in our bed. In our bed, Michael. I know. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. But don't let her turn you against me. She's trying to break us up. She's not trying to do anything. Sarah said, you already broke us. Both of you. In different ways, but you both broke us. She turned back to me then, and the look in her eyes was so cold it made me shiver. I want you out. She said, Sarah, out. Tonight. Pack your things and go. You can't be serious. Where am I supposed to go? I don't care. A hotel, a friend's place, I don't care. I just can't look at you right now. Maybe not ever. This is insane, I said. You're kicking me out, but not him? Oh, don't worry, she said, glancing at Michael. He's going too, but you first. I need gone right now. Sarah, please. We're sisters. We're all we have left. No, she said, and her voice broke a little. We were all we had left. Now I have nothing, and that's exactly what I want you to have of me. Nothing. I tried to argue, tried to make her see reason, but she just walked upstairs and locked herself in the guest bedroom. Michael stood there looking smug, like he'd won something, but I could see the fear in his eyes too. He knew his marriage was over. We both knew it. I packed my things that night. It didn't take long. After 8 years, everything I owned still fit in a few suitcases and some garbage bags. Sarah didn't come out of the guest room, not even when I knocked to say goodbye. Michael stayed in the living room, pretending to watch TV, but really just waiting for me to leave so he could try to talk to Sarah. As I loaded my car, I kept hoping Sarah would come out, that she'd stop me, that she'd say she was angry but we could work through it. But she didn't. The last thing I saw as I drove away was the light in the guest bedroom window. She was probably crying. I know I was. That was 2 weeks ago. I've called her 37 times. I've sent probably 100 text messages. I've even written an actual letter and mailed it to the house. Nothing. No response at all. I heard from a mutual friend that she kicked Michael out the next day and filed for divorce, but she still won't talk to me. I keep replaying everything in my head, wondering what I should have done differently. Should I have told her the moment I saw those dating profiles? Should I have confronted Michael privately and made him come clean? Should I have minded my own business and let her figure it out on her own? I don't know. I honestly don't know what the right answer was. All I know is that I lost my sister, not to death, like we lost our parents, but to something maybe worse, to anger and betrayal and broken trust. At least with death you can mourn and eventually heal. With this, I don't know if healing is even possible. My friend Lisa thinks Sarah will come around eventually. She says anger this hot can't last forever, that once the divorce is final and she's had time to process everything, she'll realize I was trying to help, but I'm not so sure. The look in her eyes that night wasn't just anger, it was disappointment. And disappointment is so much harder to come back from than anger. I think about her all the time. When I make coffee in the morning, I automatically make 2 cups before remembering I'm alone. When something funny happens at school with one of my students, I pull out my phone to text her before remembering she won't respond. When I watch our favorite shows, I wonder if she's watching them too, or if they're ruined for her now like everything else. The apartment I'm renting is only about 15 minutes from the house. Our house. Her house now, I guess. Sometimes I drive by just to see if she's okay. Her car is always there, but the curtains are always closed. Once I saw her leaving for work, and I almost followed her just to make sure she was really okay, but I knew that would be crossing a line. She made it clear she doesn't want me in her life. Michael tried to contact me once about a week after everything happened. He sent me a text saying this was all my fault, that if I'd just kept my mouth shut, everyone would have been happy. I didn't respond, but I wanted to. I wanted to tell him that fake happiness built on lies isn't really happiness at all. But what was the point? He'd never understand that. People like Michael never do. I found out through social media that he's already dating someone new. Some girl from his gym who posts inspirational quotes about new beginnings and everything happens for a reason. I wonder if she knows she's dating a married man, technically. I wonder if she knows about the divorce that isn't even final yet. I wonder if she'll be the next one to find out that Michael doesn't know how to be faithful. Part of me wants to warn her, but I've learned my lesson about getting involved in other people's relationships, even when that person is your sister, especially when that person is your sister. The hardest part is not having anyone to talk to about this. Sarah was the person I told everything to. When something big happened in my life, she was my first call. Now I have this huge, life-changing event, and the one person I want to talk to about it is the one person who won't speak to me. It's like losing her twice, once as my sister and once as my best friend. I've started seeing a therapist, Dr. Martinez. She's nice, doesn't judge me for the choices I made. She says I was in an impossible situation, that there was no perfect way to handle it. She says both keeping the secret and telling it were acts of love, just different kinds. I want to believe her, but it doesn't make me feel any better. Love shouldn't hurt this much. Love shouldn't cost you everything. She asked me in our last session if I regret telling Sarah the truth. I thought about it for a long time before answering. Do I regret it? If I could go back, would I do things differently? The honest answer is, I don't know. If I hadn't told her, she'd still be married to a cheater, but we'd still be sisters. If I'd told her earlier, maybe she wouldn't have felt so betrayed by my silence. There's no good answer. No clear right or wrong, but I keep coming back to something our mom used to say. The truth might hurt, but lies hurt worse and for longer. At the time, she was usually talking about something small, like whether we'd done our homework or eaten the last cookie. But I think about those words a lot now. The truth did hurt Sarah. It destroyed her marriage and her trust in me. But would the lies have hurt worse in the long run? Would finding out years from now, after maybe having kids with Michael, after building even more of a life with him, have been worse? I'll never know the answer to that. All I know is that I'm sitting here in this tiny apartment, surrounded by boxes I still haven't unpacked, missing my sister so much it physically hurts. Sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night and forget where I am. I reach for my phone to text her about some weird dream I had, and then I remember she's gone, or I'm gone. Either way, we're not in each other's lives anymore. I've been thinking a lot about forgiveness lately. Not just Sarah forgiving me, but me forgiving myself. Dr. Martinez keeps asking me what forgiving myself would look like, and honestly, I don't have an answer. How do you forgive yourself for destroying the most important relationship in your life? How do you forgive yourself for being both too cowardly and too brave at the same time? There's this photo on my phone that I can't bring myself to delete. It's from last Christmas, just a few months before everything fell apart. Sarah and I are in matching pajamas. She bought them as a joke because they have these ridiculous reindeer on them. Michael took the picture. We're laughing at something. I can't even remember what now. And we look so happy, so unaware of what was coming. Sometimes I stare at that photo and try to figure out the exact moment everything started to go wrong. Was it already happening then? Was Michael already cheating while he took that photo of us in our silly pajamas? The other day, I ran into Sarah's friend Nicole at the grocery store. The look of panic on her face when she saw me told me everything I needed to know about what Sarah has been saying about me. Nicole tried to rush past me, but I called out to her. I just wanted to know if Sarah was okay. That's all I wanted to know. Nicole stopped, looked around like she was checking if anyone was watching, then said quietly, "She's not okay, but she's surviving." Then she added, "She specifically asked me not to talk to you. I'm sorry." And she left, practically running away from me like I had some contagious disease. That hurt more than I expected. It's not just Sarah I've lost. It's all our mutual friends, all the people who were part of our shared life. They've chosen sides, and I understand why they chose hers. She's the one who was betrayed by her husband. I'm just the sister who made everything worse by how I handled it. I've started writing letters to Sarah that I'll never send. It's something Dr. Martinez suggested, a way to get my feelings out without violating Sarah's clear boundary about no contact. I have a whole drawer full of them now. Some are angry, asking her how she can throw away our relationship so easily. Some are sad, just begging her to talk to me. Some are updates about my life, like we're still sisters who share everything with each other. In one letter, I wrote about this student in my class, Marcus, who reminds me so much of how Sarah was as a kid. He's always taking care of the other kids, making sure everyone has someone to play with at recess, sharing his lunch when someone forgets theirs. I wanted to tell Sarah about him, because she would have loved hearing about him. She always said the best part of her job as a nurse was taking care of people, and she would have understood why this kid made me both happy and sad. But she'll never read that letter. She'll never know about Marcus or about how I finally figured out how to make Mom's banana bread recipe work at high altitude, or about how I saw a double rainbow last week and immediately thought of the time we saw one together on the anniversary of our parents' death and took it as a sign that they were okay. The loneliness is the worst part. It's not just being alone. I've been alone before. It's being alone when you're used to having someone. It's cooking for one when you're used to cooking for three. It's having a bad day and having no one to call. It's achieving something and having no one to celebrate with. It's existing without a witness to your life. I joined a support group for people dealing with family estrangement. I thought it would help to talk to people who understood what I was going through, but most of them are parents whose kids won't talk to them, or children whose parents cut them off. There's one other woman whose sister won't speak to her, but her situation is different. They fought over their mother's inheritance. At least that's a clear-cut issue with an obvious villain. My situation is so much messier. The group leader keeps saying that sometimes relationships need to break completely before they can be rebuilt stronger. But what if they just stay broken? What if there is no rebuilding? What if this is just how it ends? I keep hoping that one day my phone will ring and it'll be her, that she'll say she's still angry but she misses me, that we can try to rebuild something from all this wreckage. But every day that passes without that call, that hope gets a little smaller. It's been 2 weeks, but it feels like 2 years. How long before I stop hoping? How long before I accept that I didn't just lose my sister that night? I lost my family? People keep telling me that time heals all wounds, but I don't think that's true. I think time just teaches you how to live with the wounds, and right now I'm still learning. I'm learning how to be alone for the first time in my adult life. I'm learning how to exist without the one person who knew me better than anyone. I'm learning how to carry the weight of this guilt and regret and grief. Some days are better than others. Some days I can almost convince myself that I did the right thing, that Sarah needed to know the truth regardless of the cost. Other days, like today, I sit here wondering if being right is worth being alone, if the truth is worth losing everything. I still have that letter she wrote me when I graduated college. She couldn't afford a big gift, so she wrote me this 3-page letter about how proud she was of me, how she knew our parents would be proud too, how I was going to do amazing things with my life. She signed it, "Forever your sister, forever your friend, Sarah." I read it sometimes when the pain gets too bad, when I need to remember that we were happy once, that we loved each other more than anything. I want to believe that forever actually means something, that underneath all this hurt and anger, that love is still there, that maybe one day she'll remember all the years before this, all the times I was there for her, all the promises we made to each other after our parents died. Maybe she'll remember that I'm not perfect, but I tried. God, I tried so hard to do the right thing. But maybe that's just another lie I'm telling myself. Maybe some things really are unforgivable. Maybe some betrayals cut too deep to heal. Maybe I didn't just lose my sister that night. Maybe I killed the part of her that could ever trust anyone again. And if that's true, then I understand why she can't forgive me. I'm not sure I can forgive myself either. The sun is setting now, painting the walls of this unfamiliar apartment in shades of orange and pink. Somewhere across town, Sarah is probably getting ready for another night shift. I wonder if she thinks about me at all. I wonder if she misses having someone to come home to, someone to drink coffee with at the kitchen table, someone who knows without asking that she needs ice cream after a particularly hard shift. I wonder if she's lonely too, or if her anger keeps her warm at night. I wonder if she's kept any of our photos or if she's packed them all away. I wonder if she still wears the necklace I gave her for her 30th birthday, the one with both our birthstones. I wonder so many things, but wondering doesn't change anything. She's there, I'm here, and there's a gulf between us that might be too wide to ever cross again. Tomorrow will be 15 days since she kicked me out. 15 days of silence. 15 days of learning to live without her. They say it takes 21 days to form a new habit. Does that mean in 6 more days, living without my sister will feel normal? Will I stop automatically buying 2 of everything at the grocery store? Will I stop looking at my phone every 5 minutes, hoping for a message that never comes? I don't want to find out. I don't want this to become my new normal, but I don't know how to fix it either. How do you apologize for something when you're not even sure what you're apologizing for? For keeping the secret, for telling it, for not being the sister she needed me to be, all of the above. Maybe that's what I need to do. Maybe I need to stop trying to figure out who was right and who was wrong and just apologize for all of it, for every choice I made and didn't make, for every word I said and didn't say, for being human and flawed and scared. I pull out my phone and open our text conversation, all those unanswered messages from me, each one more desperate than the last. I type out a new one. I'm sorry for everything, for not telling you sooner, for telling you at all, for not being the sister you deserved. I'm just sorry. I stare at it for a long time, then delete it. She doesn't want to hear from me. She made that clear. Maybe the best thing I can do for her now is respect her wishes and leave her alone. Maybe that's the only way I can still show her I love her, by giving her the space she needs, even if it kills me. I close my phone and sit in the growing darkness. Somewhere out there, Sarah is living her life without me, and somehow I need to learn to live mine without her. I don't know how to do that yet. I don't know if I'll ever really know, but I have to try. Because what else is there to do when you've lost everything that matters? The truth was supposed to set everyone free. That's what they say, right? But all it did was lock us all in separate prisons of pain and regret. Michael in his world of consequences he never thought he'd face. Sarah in her world of betrayal from every direction. And me in my world of good intentions that paved the road to losing the only family I had left. I think about our parents sometimes, wondering what they would say about all this. Would they be disappointed in me for keeping the secret, or for telling it? Would they have known what to do? They always seemed to have the answers when we were kids, but maybe that was just because the problems were smaller then. A scraped knee, a failed test, a broken toy. Those things were fixable. This, I don't know if this can ever be fixed. But I keep hoping, even though it hurts, even though it seems impossible, I keep hoping that someday Sarah will understand that everything I did, right or wrong, came from love, That keeping the secret was because I loved her too much to hurt her. That telling the truth was because I loved her too much to let her live a lie. That losing her is the price I'm paying for loving her more than I loved myself. Maybe that's not enough. Maybe love isn't enough when trust is broken. Maybe some wounds are too deep to heal, some bridges too burned to rebuild. Maybe this is just how our story ends, not with the dramatic death that took our parents, but with the slow, painful death of a relationship that once meant everything. But until I know for sure, until she tells me directly that there's no hope, I'll keep waiting. I'll keep my phone charged and the ringer on. I'll keep driving by the house just to make sure she's okay. I'll keep loving her from a distance. The only way she'll let me now, because she's still my sister. She'll always be my sister, even if she never speaks to me again. Even if I become just a footnote in the story of her life, she'll always be the person who saved me when our parents died. She'll always be the person who taught me what family really means. She'll always be Sarah, and I'll always love her. The apartment is fully dark now. I should turn on a light, start making dinner, do something productive, but I just sit here in the darkness, remembering what it felt like to have a home, to have a family, to have someone who would always be there. Those things are gone now, maybe forever, but the memories remain, and maybe that has to be enough. Maybe that's all any of us get in the end. Memories of when things were good, before we knew how fragile it all was, before we learned that family isn't forever, that promises can be broken, that love isn't always enough, before we learned that sometimes doing the right thing costs you everything, and you have to live with that cost for the rest of your life. So that's my story. That's how I lost my sister by trying to save her. That's how I ended up alone in this apartment, talking to no one, hoping for a forgiveness that might never come. And the worst part? I still don't know what I should have done differently. I still don't know what the right answer was. All I know is that whatever choice I made, it was the wrong one. Because any choice that costs you your sister is the wrong choice, even if it's also the right one. Subscribe to my channel and watch my next video about nephew's birthday that broke everything.